something up, you literally use a spade to dig and find something in the ground. So you could dig up treasure. If you've got a metal detector, you hear a noise, you need to dig whatever that piece of metal is up. You need to dig it up. But you can also dig up information. And so dig up could mean investigate, and you can dig up something, you can dig through the case files like Sherlock does in elementary all the time. Dig up, dig through, and then it means search for information, a bit like root something out and all of these search for information ones. Okay, if you play along with someone or go along with someone, it means that you make out that you agree with them, or maybe even not pretend that you agree with them, but you say, okay, I agree with you, let's go along with that, let's play along with that and see where it leads. So perhaps somebody claims that 2 + 2 = 5, and you say, okay, let's go along with that. If 2 + 2 = 5, then blah blah blah. We're going along with what they've said. We're saying, okay, let's pretend to agree with you for a few seconds and see where that leads. That's when you go along with someone or play along with someone. But you could do this in all sorts of situations. You can use this in a lot of different situations, and I'd say they're both identical. Let's say that one of your friends, or you meet someone on the street and he is pretending to be homeless. And you can see that he's not homeless. It's very unlikely. Maybe he's wearing some nice new trainers that you can't afford. But you decide to play along with him and give him some money just to get rid of him. That would be playing along with him or going along with him. It means pretending to believe his lie in order usually to get rid of them, or who knows what it's in order to. It doesn't matter, but you're pretending to believe that person. Okay, I mean, it doesn't have to be when someone's lying though. Let's make this really clear. You might disagree with some philosopher or scientist, but you play along with him just to see how his argument goes and where it leads. So you don't have to be talking to a liar, you could be talking to anybody. Okay, if you catch someone out, then this is very similar to catch someone, well, no, let me talk about that one in a second. If you catch someone out, you might catch them in the middle of a crime, or you might catch them in the middle of doing something wrong. So that's why I've put red-handed here, because normally when you catch someone red-handed, you catch them in the middle of the crime. But yeah, if you catch someone out, you notice when they're wrong and you, or when they're doing something wrong, something illegal or something dodgy, something nasty, and you catch them out. So I've put underneath here another one which is similar, but call someone out on is for mistakes. If you catch someone out, it's usually because they've done something wrong, something illegal, something nasty, something not nice. Whereas if you call someone out on their mistakes, you tell them about a mistake they've made. Not about a crime they've committed, but about a mistake they've made. Now, if you give something away, you reveal a secret. So you might say, when I heard him, his accent gave him away as a foreigner. Or his accent gives him away as a Frenchman. Something like that. Reveals him to be a Frenchman. Okay, that's all of 52. On to 53. If you adhere to the rules, that means you follow the rules. But if you abide by the law, that means you obey the law. Use adhere to for rules or principles, and use abide by for laws. Okay? This is for the legal side of things, and this is for rules, games, principles. Now, if something goes against your principles, it contradicts your principles. It's the opposite to what you believe, or the principles that you live by. It's the opposite to those principles. So go against just means contradict, or maybe even disagree with, but usually contradict. It goes against your principles, it contradicts your principles. If you catch up with someone, it could be in a race where you just catch up with them, or it could be studying, and if you catch up, maybe you've missed 3 weeks of school, if you catch up with the rest of the class, you manage to do all the work that you've missed and you're now at the same level again. Now, impose on. You can impose a punishment on someone, and that's what the judge does when he decides someone's punishment when they're found not guilty. But that is probably not as common as the other way it's used, which is when you say this. You say, I don't want to impose on you, but, and it means I don't want to inconvenience you, but I'm going to. So when you impose on someone, you inconvenience them in some way. It might be because you want them to put you up, to accommodate you. You want to stay at their house for a few days. Maybe you're visiting a friend in another town, and you might say, I don't want to impose on you, but can you put me up for a couple of days? Can I stay at your place? So yeah, inconvenience someone. Now if you sign something over to someone else, it means that you give them the ownership of something. So you could sign your car over to someone else. You could sign your house over to someone else. And it means literally give them that car or give them that house and sign all the deeds so that they are the rightful owner of the car or the house. If you sign up with something, you just register. So you can sign up with Facebook, you can sign up with YouTube, you can sign up with Twitter, whatever. If the judge lets you off, he gives you either no punishment, even though you're guilty, or he gives you a lenient punishment, a punishment which is not harsh, which is not severe, but very, very lenient. So if you are guilty of committing any crimes, you do hope that the judge lets you off. Now, if you want to make regulations or laws or rules stricter, you need to tighten them up or toughen up regulations, yeah? So it's connected to rules and laws, and I think this whole chapter was. But when you tighten something up, you make it stricter. So you could tighten up migration controls. You could tighten up anything, basically. But it just means when you crack down on something, when you get more and more, when you get stricter and stricter about some area of the law. When you roll out a new product, you introduce a new product. However, you can also roll out legislation. So you can roll out a product, launch a product, or you can roll out legislation, roll out a new law, in which case it's identical to bring in legislation or laws. But I want to make it clear that you can't bring in a product. You could bring out a product. That would work with products. Bring out a new product, roll out a new product, launch a new product. But you bring in legislation, but you can roll out legislation. So there you go, very illogical, I know, but phrasal verbs are. Now, if you go through something terrible, that means that you suffer, you experience something nasty, and it's always negative, these two. The idea is that when you go through something, it's not nice. So you might go through a divorce, and if you get through the divorce, it means you get to the other side of it. You're no longer going through it. You're no longer suffering. So both of these are about negative things, and it means experience something difficult and negative. If you vote on something, this just means you vote. I mean, to vote on a bill or to vote on a law, it means to have a vote concerning that law. But remember, you can also vote for, in favour of, a law, or against a law. So there is vote on, vote for, and vote against. All of those prepositions work with vote. Any more questions about that, put them under the video. Now, 54 was about technology. If you call up something on your screen, you could call up a menu, you could call up a web page. It just means make that web page turn up, show up on your screen. Now, something you never call up are pop-up adverts or pop-ups. Nobody ever calls these up, but they come up anyway, they appear anyway. So pop-ups are things which nobody likes, and I'm sure many of you have some kind of ad blocker to deal with these. I hope you turn those off, by the way, when you watch these videos, so that you help me to carry on making these videos. Something worth thinking about if you have got an ad blocker. I certainly have, by the way. I wouldn't want to watch all these pop-ups. Now, if your screen goes off, it suddenly stops working. If your computer goes off, it suddenly stops working without you turning it off. It just goes off. And the same for the lights, by the way. If the lights suddenly went off in this room, you wouldn't be able to see me. It's quite dark outside, you see, so if the lights went off, you wouldn't be able to see me. And if the computer goes off, you don't turn it off, it just suddenly crashes. When you turn it off, we say you shut down the computer or you turn it off. Now, these are opposites, go off and come on. If the lights suddenly come on again, it means they went off first, and then maybe a minute later, maybe my